it's not something I can handle tonight.
A school board struggling to right the ship appears to now be in further disarray. Why a pair of board members actually walked out of the meeting tonight.
And as firework-related deaths continue to rise, what do you need to know before you buy? The news at 11 starts right now.
Live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM-TV5 News at 11.
Drama at a local school board meeting causing two members to walk right out.
It comes just a day after the sudden retirement announcement of the district superintendent. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm David Custer in for Sam.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Back in February, school board president Glenda Richardson-Vaughn resigned, calling the board dysfunctional. And it appears tonight was not a step in the right direction. TV5's Andrew Keller is live in Saginaw with more on that. Drew.
Well, it's just been a little more than 24 hours since Kelly Petros, the interim superintendent, says she's done. She's retiring partly because of what happens in the boardroom. Well, tonight we may have gotten a glimpse of what's been bugging her. Tonight's first vote, whether to allow board member Alexis Thomas, who's recovering from an illness at home, to participate in this meeting and vote over the phone. The outcome sparked outrage.
Motion passed 4-2.
Okay.
And we will go on.
I'm going home. So you guys have your fourth, and that's all you guys wanted. So I'm going to say this for the record, because God knows you guys do some crazy things.
That is board member Barbara Kopka, and she says that vote was the final straw. Her frustration fueled by the fact that she received tonight's agenda shortly before the meeting.
That is the reason it will appear that they wanted Ms. Thomas to vote today, because then the four of them could pass what they wanted to pass.
Board member Maddie Thompson also left in frustration following that vote, but only for a few moments.
Tonight, it just came in front of us. Then you got to vote on it. Doesn't make sense.
All of the drama unfolding a day after Saginaw School interim superintendent Kelly Petros announced she's retiring, partly due to what she calls the board's antics. But some people believe the problem starts with her.
It was not passing the blame to someone else. I thought that was very immature. I thought that was high school stuff.
Others don't care to point fingers, but want to see progress.
You need to make the right choices because you're going to lose kids.
Something not lost on at least one board member.
We better get them because that's what the citizens of this community elected us to do.
Now at tonight's meeting, the board also voted to name Ruth Ann Knapp as the next president. This is also under a lot of scrutiny because board member Rudy Patterson, who was not at tonight's meeting, says it should be his position after a vote earlier this year. Of course, there's a lot of complexities happening right now, and many people at tonight's meeting said they want it all cleared up and business to go on as usual. For now, live in Saginaw, I'm Andrew Keller, WNEM TV5.
Complexity seems like a nice way to put it. Thank you, Drew. The next scheduled board meeting is July 15th.
Well, a few pop-up showers have moved through tonight, but not much to speak of at this hour as we take this live look over the Saginaw Bay right now. Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman joins us now with a look at your forecast, always in the first 10 minutes. Hi, Brian.
Hi there, David. Yeah, much better out there tonight now that we've gotten a lot of those showers. In fact, basically all of those showers to dissipate across the immediate mid-Michigan area. Couple that with the fact that the skies have cleared very nicely, and while we're getting a taste of a little bit of a showing going on in the sky over the next couple of nights, namely in the form of a conjunction going on between Jupiter and Venus. That'll go into a bit more detail a little bit later on. We're at least enjoying a very pleasant Monday evening here. Here's a look at your first Warn 5 Sky Tracker again, just kind of showing those clearer skies taking shape across the region. We also have a little line of showers that are edging their way in with a cold frontal boundary that's going to be more of a player in our weather by the time we get to tomorrow. We've actually had a small zone of high pressure that kept us company yesterday, which gave us the nice second half of the weekend. Pressed a little bit farther east, you get a little bit more of that summertime humidity to work its way in today. You throw some sun onto the mix, and of course, we all saw the end result, but this system is going to kind of further destabilize the atmosphere tomorrow over mid-Michigan as it rolls through the region. Not substantially so, but again, just another day where you'll have to watch out for those hit or miss showers or storms. Still very comfortable, mild in fact out there tonight. 61 degrees now in Saginaw to 67 still in Bay City despite the clearing skies. You notice the dew points well up into the 50s, not only in Midland and in Flint, but of course including really the entirety of the region. So the humidity noticeable, but not really falling into that uncomfortable range, thankfully, just yet. Also very mild staying right now in Midland at 60. 67 degrees. And Flint cooling a bit quicker, but nice at 63. 67 is going to be about the high on the bay waters tomorrow if you headed out there. Maybe you're on vacation this week. It will be a good day to head out there. Just again, keep an eye out for a couple of those pop-up showers, maybe a thunderstorm. You might get some gusty winds when those roll through. And whether you're on the bay or on land, same chance, especially as we head into the afternoon. Lunchtime temps, though, getting up to the 70s already. Full week's forecast, including a look at the 4th of July weekend, is coming up in just a little bit.
Sounds good, Brian. Thank you. And get your forecast before heading out the door. Join meteorologist Daphne DeLorean for TV5 Wake Up starting at 5 a.m. Continuing coverage now on that GM ignition switch recall. GM says the death toll from faulty ignition switches in small cars has risen by 2. That brings the total now to 119 people. The families of the victims are being offered compensation of at least $1 million each. GM recalled more than 2.5 million cars last year after it acknowledged it knew about the problem for more than a decade.
A Detroit woman has pled guilty to killing 2 of her children and storing their bodies in a freezer for years. A judge accepted Michelle Blair's plea today. Blair told the court she tortured and killed her 13-year-old daughter and 9-year-old son. Blair said she had no regrets for what she did, and if she had the chance, she would do it again. Blair is expected to be sentenced to life in prison without parole next month.
With the 4th of July approaching, many families are stocking up on fireworks to celebrate the holiday, and unfortunately, every year accidents happen and people get hurt. So which ones should you avoid? Well, Gino Vici is live in Saginaw with more on that. Gino.
Well, David, unfortunately, many of those injuries that happen occur to young children. You know, it's not uncommon for a parent to hand their child a sparkler to twirl around. Now, many people think these are a safer firework, but not according to fire experts. Fireworks will soon light up the sky to celebrate America's Independence Day from the rule of Great Britain. The 4th of July is marked with barbecues, parades, and of course fireworks. But experts say celebrations too often turn deadly. Shedrick Green is an engineer with the Saginaw Fire Department. Green says children are injured less with fireworks that are thought to be more dangerous, like the ones that shoot into the sky in mortars. He says more and more children seem to be getting injured from fireworks thought to be much safer.
Most of those 8,000 to 10,000 people that get injured due to fireworks are under the age of 15.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission warns that those innocent-looking bottle rockets and sparklers pose a disproportionate risk to kids and account for nearly a quarter of all firework injuries. A terrible tragedy involving fireworks and a 12-year-old boy in Nashville is prompting fire experts to remind parents of the inherent dangers of any type of fireworks.
A lot of the injuries that happen to these younger members obviously have to do with the hands, the eye, and the head, because that's typically where we hold the fireworks at.
Green says never hold fireworks in your hand, and when you light them, move away quickly and steer clear of one that doesn't go off right away. Green says the bottom line, the Saginaw Fire Department wants families to enjoy this 4th of July with their loved ones and away from the emergency room.
They need to take extra precaution and when they're out there doing their fireworks, maybe for their younger siblings or family members.
Now back here live, depending on where you live, the rules could be different, but here in Saginaw, it's illegal to light off fireworks except for the day before, of, and the day after a holiday. Stay safe out there this 4th of July. We're live in Saginaw. Gino Vici, WNEM-TV 5. Back to you.
All right, Gino, thank you. While nearly all consumer-grade fireworks are legal in the state of Michigan, most townships and cities have ordinances, as Gino just mentioned, that prohibit them during certain times of the day.
For the first time in a decade, the city of Flint will begin the fiscal year deficit-free. That boost of morale was announced during a special meeting of City Council today. Mayor Dane Walling praised the fiscal news as a milestone, marking a historic shift in the city's finances. The new fiscal year begins on July 1st, and Flint will no longer be under the oversight of an emergency financial manager.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled today in favor of Michigan and other states that were challenging rules that would reduce mercury and other types of air pollution. The Supreme Court says the Environmental Protection Agency didn't take cost into account before imposing the rules, something it is legally obligated to do. The rules plan to cut mercury and air toxins from coal plants. Despite the ruling, Consumers says it still plans to close the Carn-Weedock coal plant in Bay County.
Well, if you're on Facebook, you no doubt saw all those rainbow filters popping up on pictures in celebration of that big decision by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, coming up, how many people use the filter and who actually created this popular tool?
Plus, proper restraints can mean all the difference in vehicles. How police teamed up to make sure parents know how to do it right.
And you may have heard of the slow roll in Detroit. Next, where something similar is now going.